Thank you for joining Wars of the Roses. And this is The Priestess of Amen-Ra by Manly P. Hall. An article taken from PRS Journal, Volume 19, Number 4, Spring 1960. The Priestess of Amen-Ra by Manly P. Hall. In recent years, there has been a marked increase of interest in mysterious and incredible happenings. These have found a responsive television audience, and researchers are delving in out-of-the-way places for such anecdotes, and we may note with considerable success. The unbelievable happens every day, but the average person is inclined to rationalize the mysterious, taking refuge behind the common concept of coincidence. For these rationalizers, we present the following notes, substantially as they appeared in the New York Times for April 7th, 1923, Section 1, page 3, column 1. Unfortunately, the reporter passed over the incident somewhat lightly, but as the story appeared in so respectable and conservative a publication, we should not be afraid that the elements were exaggerated. There was considerable excitement over the unfortunate death of Lord Carnarvon in connection with the opening of the tomb of Tutankhamun. Many were of the opinion that his lordship perished as the result of a curse placed by the ancient Egyptian priests on grave robbers and disturbers of the dead. Conservative Egyptologists were indignant at the popular display of superstition, and several explanations were advanced for this coincidence. In England, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, a devout student of psychic phenomena, expressed a belief that the death of the Earl of Carnarvon was probably caused by malicious spirits guarding the tomb. The British Museum was enriched almost immediately by a number of gifts of antiquities from persons who did not admit they were superstitious, but lost interest in possessing Egyptian artifacts, which might be carriers of ill fortune. Naturally, this brought to mind previous incidents of Egyptian curses, and in the midst of this furor, the New York Times made its contribution. The account is related to a priestess of Amen-Ra who departed from this world in the days of Egypt's glory, and whose mummy case with contents is described as standing in the British Museum. I seem to remember that the name of this priestess was Cleopatra, but she was not the illustrious queen of that name. According to the description, the mummy was found in 1864 by an Arab. These desert people frequently make interesting discoveries and have learned that there is a good market for their finds. Our Arab, whose fate unfortunately is not noted, sold the mummy of the priestess to a wealthy traveler. This gentleman, according to report, lost all his money and died of a broken heart within a few weeks. Two of his servants, who handled the mummy case, were dead within a year. A third servant, who did not touch the mummy but made some contemptuous remarks regarding it, lost an arm through a gunshot accident. The remains of the priestess were brought to London, and here unpleasant events multiplied rapidly. A photographer took pictures of the mummy case and its contents. When the films were developed, everyone had a shock. Instead of the mask-like countenance on the case, there was the likeness of a living woman's face, with a most horrible and malevolent look. Naturally, this did not add to the popularity or commercial value of the mummy. No one would buy it. So in due time, it was sent to the British Museum. The trucker who delivered the mummy died a week later, and one of his helpers broke an arm the next day. A second attempt was also made to photograph the ominous object, and this photographer also had a bad time. Troubles and disasters plagued him ever after. When in doubt about curses, you can always depend upon an American to discount such reports. A gentleman from the States decided to purchase the mummy for presentation to a museum. After buying it, he shipped it to this country on the steamship Titanic. The vessel went down with the remains of the priestess aboard, but the mummy was saved and is reported to have brought a sequence of further tragedies. In due course, a buyer who did not know the unpleasant story was found. This unsuspecting Canadian decided to ship the priestess back to England, so he had her remains carefully packed and put aboard the Empress of Ireland. This ship promptly sank somewhere in the St. Lawrence River. This is as far as the New York Times carries the story, but it would be interesting indeed to fill in the details. If the account is authentic, it presents a series of occurrences which simply cannot be brushed off as unrelated accidents. We might even suspect that the Priestess of Amen-Ra was a lady with a rather unpleasant disposition. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe and comment. And if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Roses. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.